It's 9:30. Oh my goodness. Well, what I'm gonna do? Don't unmute yet. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's 9:30. It's December, and it's Coffee with the Birds. I'm addressing you all first, but we also have an online conglomerate of people. How many people are online right now? 12 and growing online. We have a little competition sometimes. I think it's going to maybe outdo it here. This is our largest in-person crowd that we've had since we've also been doing the hybrid with online. But welcome. I'm going to do the welcome. Please hear my welcome so that I don't have to double it up while I'm also looking into the camera. It's also directed at you. So, we're going to get started. The live stream has started, but the audio is cut. And what I'm going to do is,
They can hear you.
oh, they can hear me now. I've been heard. Now I'm going to turn this camera on. and say hello to our online audience. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Birds. My name is Curtis Dykstra, Parks Naturalist with Ottawa County Parks, and I want to welcome you to Coffee with the Squirrels. Wait, we might have to find some birds here real quick, but we've got a downy woodpecker. I'm going to put it up on the downy woodpecker. I hear a blue jay, and maybe doesn't want to focus on this. Then I'm gonna put it on the goldfinches. You have to excuse me while I have to move around with this camera so stay in view. There's some goldfinches on here. Now it's Coffee with the Birds. Okay. There we go. My name is Curtis Dykstra, Parks Naturalist with Ottawa County Parks, and I want to welcome you to Coffee with the Birds online and in person. We've got a full room here of people. I might have to swing this camera around at some point and show everybody in the room to our online audience, because this is truly a community, both online and in person, that we want to hold together. But Coffee with the Birds, as you see up on the screen here. Now I'm going to point our online viewers to the screen as well and shut my camera off here a second. If I can, there we go. Welcome to Coffee with the Birds. The event today is going to be a feeder watching session between 9:30 and 10:20-ish. And then after that, we have a tidbit presentation in the great room over here. Or for those of you online, there is a link in the email that I sent out and also on the blog page for Coffee with the Birds, the information page that you can use to watch the video, which will feature interviews with the photo contest winners. So we'll be highlighting that during the tidbit presentation this morning. And then at 11:10 a.m. thereabouts, a new group of people, the woodpeckers, a new group of people will come in hopefully at 10:30 for the tidbit presentation, and then they'll wander in here for the 11 o'clock feeder watching session. So we do 2 feeder watching sessions, and of course involved in that, and I'm going to put it back out on the birds for you online viewers because you're probably tired of looking at that screen. For those of you unfamiliar with the program, hopefully you get it from the title. This is Coffee with the Birds. So we also have coffee. Is that going to come up? There we go. We have coffee and we have birds. And I'm going to switch the slide here real quick so that you all can see. There we go. So I'm online, but I'm also in person. So forgive me while I step out for just moments at a time, especially as we get started here. But this program is sponsored by, I'm going to turn around this way so I can see my screen and go like that. There we go. This program is sponsored by Simpatico Coffee. So the coffee you're drinking is shade-grown coffee, bird-friendly coffee, meaning it was grown in the shade of trees maintained for habitat for birds in the tropics. So that's why they call it bird-friendly coffee. DeBoer Bakery has also given us discounts on the pastries, and those pastries and the other hot drinks have been provided by the Friends of Ottawa County Parks. So big thank you to those sponsors for their support of this program. And the cookies, there's cookies there that's left over from the Luminary event last night. Anybody at the Luminary event last night? A number of you. Nice. I hope you had a good time. Apparently it was good enough that you wanted to come back for another dose of programming at the Nature Center. That's good. That's good. But also of note is the Washtenaw Islands Audubon Society. They also have supported this program with donations to buy seed for the birds, and the Brine Seed Company is a new sponsor that has given us prizes they have donated prizes this year for our photo contest winners, but also for the drawings that we'll do each week. So we'll do a drawing for every Mug Club member. And that brings me to the final thank you for our sponsors. To our Mug Club members, raise your mugs. Whether you have this year's mug or another one, doesn't matter. Raise your mugs online, in person, raise your mugs. Thank you to our Mug Club members. You guys make this possible. And we appreciate your support of this program and feeding the birds by buying a Mug Club membership. We've got the new mugs this year. We'll talk a bit more about the winners of the photo contest during the tidbit, but enjoy Mike Burgeon's cedar waxwing photo on your mug. Very proudly do we put that photo on here. We had wonderful photos this year, and hard to choose, but Mike Burgeon's took the grand prize this year. So you can pick up your mug if you don't have one yet for $25 at the front desk here. Our online sales are temporarily down because of a bank thing. They're updating software or something. So good timing, right? But you can still get them in person right here. And if you do buy them online, you do have to come in and pick them up at the Nature Center at some point. So, but we appreciate your support, those of you online and those of you here in person, of Coffee with the Birds. Well, what is Coffee with the Birds? It's an informal time for us to enjoy the birds, to enjoy coffee, pastries, birds, and community, both online and in person. You can't have this program without any of those parts, right? It's nice. We always gather around food, drinks, and birds. Of course, we all have the interest in birds, and doing it together just makes it that much more special. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being online with us. And I don't come with an agenda of a particular topic to talk about, other than we're going to identify the birds at the feeders. We're gonna talk about feeding birds. We're gonna have questions online and in person. Questions about birds, maybe recent bird sightings, other curiosities, stories, things like that. But it's all bird related. That's the rule, just bird related. And to help me this morning, we have a new crew member. Her name is Riley. This is Riley Dorn. And I'm going to put the camera on Riley for a second. I know I'm going to make you all sign. Spinning this thing all the way around. This is Riley. Riley, say hi. Riley is a recent graduate of GVSU and has background in, well, your degree is natural resource management, but she has expertise in the tech side of things. Oh. So she is behind a lot of Facebook stuff, Instagram, all of those posts, the newsletter. She's very instrumental in the newsletter now. And she's also instrumental in helping us with the Coffee with the Birds programs and any of our online programming that we have with schools or others. So thank you, Riley. We're glad you're on board. She's been a great member of the team. So let's give her a round of applause. Glad to have you. And with that, you know what? As long as we're turned this far around, I'm going to pan by the in-person crew here. Everybody wave. You're online. You're on candid camera here. So you can see we have a full room here. And I do want to note one other person in the back over here. We've got some students that are helping us out from the Tech Center, the Ottawa County ISD Tech Center. And we just met them we've met you before. But my brain is entirely blanking because it's Kai. Yeah. Kai. This is Kai, everybody. And so if anybody in the room needs anything, needs help with your binoculars that you're borrowing or a book to pass around or other things, Kai is helping out in this room. We've got other volunteers in the building here too, helping out with serving the donuts and the coffee at the feeder watching station in the other room. So I'm really thankful for our volunteers and staff to make this possible. So I'm going to, oops. I meant to do it that way. There we go. I'm going to close your eyes for a second. I'm going to spin it all the way back around out to the birds. So with that, let's watch some birds, right? Let's watch some birds. The feeders have been a little slow this morning, which is interesting. Yesterday, they were extremely busy. With the snow coming in, there was constant activity out here.
Kurt, should think that there's a bird of prey out here.
Yeah,
These birds are
Oh, yeah.
very still.
Yeah, you know what?
They're very still.
I've been looking at them, and they've been looking outside. And the thought is that there's a bird of prey out here somewhere. Because, let's see if I can find it with the camera. On number 9 there, then there's one on the tree back there too. Where did I? There, look at this downy woodpecker. There's one up on the tree there. There's one on number 9 here. You said there's one on number 3? There was? So we might have an explanation for the lack of birds at the feeder. There has been a Cooper's hawk. We saw it make 2 passes at the feeder yesterday while we were setting up. So it would not surprise me if it was the Cooper's hawk. And actually, could you get the lights by pressing the buttons on the wall there? Not that one, those over there. Yeah, that'll reduce the glare on the window. I'm sorry, I meant to do that a little earlier. Is that better?
Yes.
That helps out? Okay, good. There's still enough light for my face there with the window light, but in the room here now, we've got the lights off. So when a hawk comes through, the birds react, and the hawk responds to movement. And so if they sit still, it draws less attention. So they'll sit still, they'll try to be on the opposite side of the branch of where the hawk is or was, and stay as still as they can until the coast is clear. We've got a hairy woodpecker up there, and then I'm going to switch it over to this downy woodpecker over here on 9. If it'll allow me to focus on it. Don't know why it doesn't want to focus on that one. Come on, focus. There we go. Sitting really still, and I'm going to move and catch up with the camera here. There we go. Do we have any comments online? Any questions? Anybody online, give us a shout out. Let us know you're there. We don't know who you are until you reveal yourself in the chat. We just see a number. What is our number at online? 28. 28. So can you get a head count of those in here too? That'd be great. We're going to get a head count. I think we got a few more than 28 in here, but that's quite a crew. Any comments online yet?
Someone earlier just said hi.
Oh, okay. There's a hi from who? Who's saying hi?
We have Mary from Grand Haven,
Hello from Mary in Grand Haven.
Rick's online.
Rick. I think is that the Rick we know? Yes. Rick Veldman is online watching. So those of you who know, he's helped in the past with the setup in here. So thank you, Rick, for joining. Okay. Oh, here comes a tufted titmouse over to number 8. So maybe we're going to relax things a little bit out here.
Can you explain the differences between the 2 woodpeckers that we have that are frozen stuff?
Yes. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slide up on the screen here. It goes over a few of the differences. Downy and hairy woodpecker. So the woodpecker on number 9 over here is a downy woodpecker. The downy woodpecker is our smallest North American woodpecker. So the question for those of you online is, can I explain the differences between the 2 woodpeckers that are out there right now frozen on the feeders? If I can get them in focus again. Maybe. The downy woodpecker is our smallest North American woodpecker. And this is a male because it has a little red patch on the back of the head. You can see on the screen there, that's a male downy woodpecker. The hairy woodpecker looks almost identical. And at that distance away, for those of you in person, you can see the hairy woodpecker up on that tree. It looks about the same size maybe as this downy woodpecker. Kind of hard to distinguish, but actually it's bigger. It's 2 inches bigger. And that is the hairy woodpecker that you see up on the left here on the screen. And I'm going to get that back on the screen here for those 9. There's our hairy woodpecker. What they're not showing us right now is their beak size. So actually just put all of the here's all the things to look for with the downy and the hairy woodpecker. The bird size is much different. You see in the picture up there how different in size they are. When they are on the feeder together here, you can see it very, very obviously. And usually in one of these sessions, we'll get that. We'll have them both on the feeder at the same time. Here, I got to get in the frame here. So when they're together, really easy. When they're apart, a little more difficult. Then you want to look at things like the beak size. Look at the hairy woodpecker, and I'm actually gonna do this. I'm gonna point it at the screen a bit so you know what I'm talking about, folks online. Downy and hairy woodpecker. I'm going to turn that off. Oh, female downy right here real close. So this is what the folks are looking at in person here. Beak size is much bigger. You can see that top graphic. It's about equal to the size of its head, whereas the downy woodpecker, it's about 1/3 the size of its head. So much smaller beak in comparison to the size of its head. Also, if you look at the tail feathers where those red arrows are pointing, you can see clean white on the outer tail feathers of the hairy woodpecker and little specks of black on the outer tail feathers of the downy woodpecker. If you're looking real close, you can see the collar that the hairy woodpecker has around the neck that goes over the shoulder that the downy woodpecker does not have. So those are some things to look for, but the best thing is size. And what I like to suggest is that you pay attention to your feeders where the woodpeckers land and that you look at the size comparison of the bird to the feeder itself. Oh, and he just flew off. I'm going to move it over to this feeder because there's a lot more activity on it now. Number 4 feeder is pretty active. There we go. Some nice goldfinches on there. There's a bunch of goldfinches up in the tree above that are going to be descending on this and number 3 here momentarily. Whoops. There we go. There we go. Goldfinches. So if you know the size of one of the woodpeckers in comparison to the feeder, if the other one shows up, you'll see that it's bigger in comparison to the size of your feeder. So that's a good way to do it. To the known size of something. Ooh, now it's going to... Tufted titmouse came in. Oh, we've got our leucistic goldfinch. Lonnie Garris found this the other day. It's a white one on number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
This is a leucistic goldfinch. Lonnie's here too, I know. I saw him. Leucistic means basically partial albino. You can see the colorations. It still has yellow on its wing. And you can see the shadows of the black markings on its wing as well if it turns to the side. But it's lost most of the pigment in its feathers. So we call that leucistic. It almost looks like a canary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Honey, we've got him out at the feeder. And number 3. Yep. So Lonnie was here. Was it with Rhea? Did you say it was with Rhea? Lonnie and Rhea's here as well, somewhere. found this the other day, and I came in. I wasn't here that day, and I came in the following day, and it showed up again. So I'm glad it's showing for everybody here. Kind of an unusual looking bird. Never had anything like that before. Leucistic goldfinch. Goldfinches do change color during the season. Actually, Kai, can you take this? And anybody that wants to see, or even just hold it up for a moment, the goldfinches change color through the season, and the colors that you see of all of the other goldfinches, that's common this time of the year. They're
Like brown on his back.
they've got kind of an olivey brownish gray color through the winter. The males typically have a bit more yellow in the face. As you can see for online, the bottom right birds are the males. The top left birds on number 3 there are females. You can kind of see the yellow in the face is the biggest thing that I look at. But they still have the black wings with the white wing bars, except for if you're leucistic. He's turning kind of so you can see the wing pattern.
Yeah.
Is leucistic always male or always female?
I don't believe it is gender related. Yeah. Oh, there they took off.
Oh, they all left.
They took off. But they change. Come March, you'll see them change and start to get the yellow patches again. And then turn bright golden colors. The females also brighten up yellow too. But during the wintertime, they become somewhat unrecognizable. A lot of people don't realize that these are actually goldfinches. But watch in March. Watch them change their colors. It's fun to see. And then late into the fall then too.
Hey, Curtis,
Yes.
what's in feeder 3 and 4?
What is in feeders 3 and 4 is the question. 3 and 4, these feeders. It is sunflower chips. So it's sunflowers out of the shell. Easier for them to eat because they don't have to crack it open. And it creates less mess underneath the feeder. It's a little bit more expensive. However, they I find it worth it, especially if you want to keep less mess. And the birds love it all that much more too, I've found. We switched to it last year, and you can get it at DeBrine. I'm going to put a plug in for DeBrine Seed Company. They have a good variety of fine chips, of medium chips, and then these are the whole kernel that I have here, but the medium sunflower chip works. You just want to make sure that whatever you put it in, the holes aren't too big so that it just falls out. But they definitely, and I've also got it in number 7 over here, the red feeder. And the birds have loved it. The goldfinches in particular have really loved it. This downy woodpecker is still sitting there.
Just
And we got some juncos coming out on the ground over here. Any questions or comments online? No? What's our count online? 25 online. Excellent. Well, those of you, are you all shy? You know you can say hello on the chat. We'd love to hear from you. But we're looking at a little flock of juncos coming out from the brush here. The little gray birds with the white bellies. The males are the ones that are really dark charcoal gray, and that's this guy right here, right in front of the tree here, underneath number 7, straight there. That's a male. The females are a little more brown in color, lighter colored like that. Oh, yes, the male wanted to be in the camera, so it chased off the female. And I should say females or juveniles are lighter in color. But they still have the white belly, and they still have the white on the outer tail feathers. So when they fly, you see flashes of white. And they prefer to feed on the ground. Will you ever see them on a feeder? Yeah, absolutely. But typically, it's just on the ground. So birds feed in different places, and that's an important point to remember when you are feeding birds. That downy is still there. Because providing seed in different locations helps you to attract a larger amount of birds. So there's the downy. This downy is not believing that that hawk is gone.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there, not eating nothing.
Curtis,
Yes.
the juncos are just a sparrow, right?
Yes.
Do you know why they're called juncos versus such and such sparrow?
I don't know. Same with the towhee.
Oh, right.
They're in the sparrow family too, but I don't know why they don't have sparrow in their name. They're special, I guess. There are some warblers that are that way, including my favorite, the ovenbird. It's not the ovenbird warbler or the American redstart. So there are a few birds in other categories of birds that kind of follow that too. But it is interesting. Well, why isn't it the ovenbird warbler? I don't know. Too much to say. Junco sparrow. And if you look really closely at the juncos, for those of you online, this is a downy woodpecker. The juncos have gone back into the brush, but the juncos are kind of a fun mix to look at, especially if you like to study genetics. And we see this leucistic goldfinch too, but there can be crossovers between western subspecies of juncos and the eastern subspecies of junco. So they're all dark-eyed juncos, but if you look in your books, and if anybody wants to look, you want to grab a book and show, there are lots of different subspecies. Out west, there's the Oregon junco, there's a white-winged junco, there's others, but the Oregon junco breeds with the slate-colored junco, which is the one that we have here. In Canada, up along the Rocky Mountains. And so sometimes we get the mix of those two showing up here. We call it a Cazier's junco. But boy, is that hawk just like sitting out here? Make me into a liar to think that, yes, this was happening with birds before. Interesting, because all I'm seeing right now is this downy woodpecker. And then are there some juncos yet? Yeah. Oh, and the Harry's still over there too. I'm gonna step away from the camera here a second and see if I can locate.
Yeah,
I am not seeing
I know
a hawk, but they know more than I do.
Do they warn each other?
I didn't hear the sound. Actually, can you turn the volume up on that?
got it up, but I don't think it's.
Oh, you know what? Do you know the button to turn it on? No, you don't. I will turn it on. We need the audio.
Oh, yeah.
There's our audio. Apologies. See, we gotta shake the rust off. I haven't done this in a while.
Oh, yeah.
So while things are slow, I'm going to turn things to the audience, and that means you online as well. What are some recent bird sightings you've had? What are some questions that you have about bird feeding or birding that you would like to share with the group?
There's one.
Yes.
I have 5 bluebirds that come to my feeder twice a day. I was surprised. Do they normally stay in the winter?
Excellent question. The question is, this woman has 5 bluebirds that comes to her feeders twice a day. And do they stay during the winter? The answer is yes. Many bluebirds actually overwinter in our area. More than people realize, but they're not spread out. They usually flock up a little bit. So you got to kind of know where to go. Some do leave and go further south, but many do stay. They keep warm by piling into the bird boxes at night and conserving heat. And they will generally tend to be in areas where there's berries present, because they generally feed on berries. If you have mealworms or suet, they typically eat
I
that
have both
too.
of them. Yeah.
You have both of those, so keep it up.
And I got a bluebird feeder. And
There you
put
go.
the mealworms and they
Yep.
love it.
And the other thing to think about too is habitat. So if you have the right habitat where bluebirds are in the summer, there's a chance that you can keep them in the winter. That's one thing we've not been able to attract to our feeders here, even though we have nesting bluebirds right over in our meadow over here. So, but yes, they do stick around. Yeah, good question. Any questions online? Natalie is asking how many woodpeckers. I'm going to pause on that question because we have a white-throated sparrow. He's underneath number 8. I've got him in the camera here. He's left of the pole for number 8. He's the little brown bird with the juncos. Kicking. He's facing to the right. He's kicking. So white-throated sparrows are a migrant, meaning that they breed up in northern Michigan, up into Canada, and they winter further south than us, typically. Sometimes they stick around. And so I'm wondering if this white-throated sparrow might stick around, because usually we don't have them this late into the season. So kind of an unusual bird to have in the winter, although not unheard of. We on the Christmas bird count, which is next weekend, we find white-throated sparrows, I think, every year. But it's a very small number of them, and it's a good find. So I hope this white-throated sparrow sticks around. Carl and Judy, you're online, I know. They're in charge of the Christmas bird count. We're going to have to keep a lookout for this white-throated sparrow to get it on the list. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know you're out there, Carl and Judy. That's Carl and Judy Manning. They're not here this morning, but they said that they would be online watching. Carl is one of the honorable mention winners with his evening grosbeak shot. So, you know what? Let me go back to the first question. We had a question about the woodpeckers. Right now, Natalie asked, how many woodpeckers are there? There have been a downy and a hairy. Now I see two hairies and a downy. And earlier we did have a red-bellied woodpecker. So two hairies and one. No, we've had 2 downies. So 2 each of hairy and downy. And then 1 red-bellied woodpecker. That was before we started the online part. And now the chickadees are coming in. Traffic is starting to pick up. And here's a tufted titmouse. Oh, there he flew. Trying to catch it for you. House finch is on number 8. There's a tufted titmouse on 8. I'll keep it on this for a moment. There's a male house finch. It is a house finch. Note that it has streaks around its belly and sides, whereas the purple finch does not. And that's actually, I'm going to switch the slide up here. There we go. If you want to know the difference between purple finch and house finch, I've got that up on the screen. We're looking at the top left bird that was on number 8. It's gone now. Oh, red-breasted nuthatch here on number 5. We're going to spin you a sec. Oh, and he just flew. I'm doing my best to keep up with the birds here. Now we're getting real busy. So in a moment, I can answer the question about what determines and what impacts birds sticking around. I wanted to get a look at the bird traffic here real quick. Because there's chickadees fighting over the number 1 feeder. For those of you who remember from last year, I had trouble focusing on this feeder. Guess what I did? I, quote unquote, planted a tree behind the feeder. So now the camera focuses on the feeder and not on the trees way beyond. That's what it wanted to do because it's open. It doesn't focus on the feeder itself. Ooh, over here we've got more chickadees.
There's a
White-breasted nuthatch right here. There's the white-breasted nuthatch.
Really?
Oh, he just flew off a 4.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's a mourning dove underneath number 7 here. So that's a new one.
Oh, he's big. There's so many.
It walks like the chicken, you know, kind of doing the head bobbing back and forth.
Good grief.
For those of you online, if you're keeping track of the number of birds, I should. Oh, did that mourning dove disappear? It did disappear. Went back to the brush. Come on, focus. Focus. There we go.
What type of suet do you have up there?
So the question is, what type of suet do I have? In the feeder right here, number 5, that is raw suet. You can get that from a butcher if they sell it to you. Sometimes they may give it to you for free. I cut it all. I get a big chunk, and I have to cut it all up myself from the butcher. But some butchers will package it and sell it. You'll find it frozen. But it is unrendered. It is just straight up suet, which is beef fat.
Beef fat,
Do they
yeah.
like that better than the kind of butter?
So the question is, do they like it better than the ones than the packages in the store? I would say, from my experience, yes. But I only feed this in the winter time, and that's because you don't want it to go bad
Yeah.
in the summer. So when it's cold enough out, I can put this out, and the woodpeckers do prefer this. They also prefer the suet that I have in number 10 over here, the little
Yeah.
and that is rendered suet, but it is 100% pure suet. So it comes in a cake like you normally get. I don't have any cakes out there right now. Let's see, but that feeder there, I spread basically like a lard-like substance into there. So that's what the suet cakes are. You can get those at DeBrine. They're a little bit more expensive than the other suet cakes, but I say they're worth it because the birds with suet, that's what they're going for, is the fat. Not all the additives that they put in there and the berries and the nuts and the this and that make it look like it's a granola bar for you to eat. So don't be tricked by that. The other one I like is the peanut suet, because the peanuts are great. The birds do love the peanuts, and that one tends to be high in crude fat content.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
So, and this feeder was donated last year and has been a really great feeder because the birds can kind of mimic their natural feeding habits.
Oh, there's
So there's a downy woodpecker eating on number 10. There's a hairy woodpecker that just came into number 5 here. You can see the size difference a little better now since they're close to each other. There's a white-breasted nuthatch on 3. Tufted titmouse just flew off of 5. So I'm going to switch it to the hairy woodpecker, although he's kind of hiding behind. There he is.
Yeah. Are they friends?
So the hairy woodpecker is on the backside of the suet here.
Yeah.
There's a tufted titmouse over on number 1. He's actually sitting there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they are. On number 1.
Come on, focus on it. There we go. And now the bird's gone. There we go. Tufted titmouse.
Yeah, on 1.
Number 1. They like that one because I put peanuts in it. So that one actually, the peanuts, you can get big bags of peanuts at DeBrine. You can get the sunflower hearts. They've got a wide variety. The stuff that you see on the ground is also their Junco mix, they call it. So they mix their own seed there. Great customer service, good prices, neat place. It's in Zeeland. If you know Zeeland at all, it's kind of downtown Zeeland. If you take 96th from the north down into Zeeland, you hang a left on Washington. And they're just on the north side of Washington, just east of on 96th. Yep. Oh, we got a hairy woodpecker here. 2 hairy woodpeckers. There's a hairy and a downy together. Oh, now the one flew. Any comments online?
Same question before. And then, what is the status of the vintage?
Mm-hmm. I had to take a bite of my donut. It slowed down just a little bit. Oh, there's the white-throated sparrow again. If you didn't see it, he's down to the left of number 8.
Yeah.
He's kind of in the back in the snow there, just a little bit. This is the tan form, meaning the stripes that are often white on the head are actually tan colored. It's not the difference between a male and a female or a youngster and an adult. Adult males and females can be a tan form. So, but sometimes you'll see them with the bright white stripes too. That's the white form. So you can see the white throat now. He's looking right at us. Next to the juncos there. So that's I would say that's our bird of the day so far. As far as rarity level, unusual. They're unusual. I wouldn't say they're rare, but they're unusual for sure. The white-throated sparrow. Yep. At other times of the year, you can see lots of them. They'll come through your yard and in migration and then continue on. The leucistic. Oh, you know what? Maybe that. So fair point. The leucistic goldfinch might take the cake as far as the most unusual bird today. So I'm going to look at the board here and see what we're missing. We did hear a blue jay. I didn't see it.
I saw one.
Cardinal?
Yeah.
No, you haven't seen a cardinal yet.
No.
Chickadee, yes. Titmouse, yes.
Yeah.
White-breasted and red-breasted nuthatch, yes.
Yes.
Mourning dove, yes. Blue jay, yes. House finch, goldfinch,
Yes.
downy, hairy, and if you were here a little early, then we had red belly.
Yeah.
Dark-eyed junco, tree sparrow we're missing. We do have the white-throated sparrow and no wild turkeys. The turkeys probably won't show up with all of us here, but they have been showing up somewhat regularly. So we need American tree sparrow and cardinal. Surprisingly, no cardinals yet.
I know. I saw earlier.
So the question was, there are 2 questions, both dealing with migration. And one is, well, what determines if a bird stays around or continues migrating? Without throwing the book at you, I'll try to keep it simple. But basically, it's an advantage for particularly any male bird, to stay as far north as possible, because it has better access to its breeding grounds. Can be the first one to the breeding grounds in the spring. And so if it finds a good balance of weather and survivability a little further north than where it normally goes, it says, why not? The other factor then that comes into that is climate change. And as the climate is warming, we see more birds like this spending the winter here. As our winters are more mild, it's not anecdotal. The data will reveal that birds like the white-throated sparrow and such are overwintering in our area more often. Things like robins are more numerous. Things like bluebirds are actually more numerous. We're finding things like the kinglets, both species of kinglets and such. They're more likely to spend the winter here. If they figure they can do it, it's good. It's to their advantage. Then they can get north to their breeding ground sooner.
Hey, Curtis?
Yeah.
We have like a bazillion Canada geese. Woke me up this morning. Would that be the same situation? You're just going to stay here until the ponds freeze?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, ducks.
And it's been relatively mild, so
Yep.
they're probably still. That's why they're still here.
Yep. So the question is, geese. Lots of geese are still around. So is that related to the weather as well? Absolutely. Duck migration has a lot to do with the weather. They are not going to move unless the freezing weather dictates it. So yeah. The more we have open water here, the more they're going to stick around. So as things continue to warm, that's going to be more the case where we're not going to have the hard freezes that we've had, or they're going to be very quick and short. The highs and the lows rather than the constant cold, which is what we've been experiencing the last few years. You'll get a week or two of really, really cold, and then it's really, really warm, and then up and down. So that kind of weather pattern is going to favor the ducks sticking around. The other question was the finch eruption. What is going on with the finch eruption? And I would say that if you were around in late October and were paying attention to the finch eruption, you got to see evening grosbeaks. And evening grosbeaks descended upon us in the latter half of October. If you were lucky, they showed up at your feeder. If you were not so lucky, you missed it entirely. But if you were mildly lucky, you knew where they were showing up and you went to where they were showing up. I did go to a birding friend that lives just north of here that had a big flock. Must have been 50 birds on her feeder. And if you were on my YouTube channel, then you probably saw the video of the evening grosbeaks descending on the feeder. And of course, Carl and Judy Manning also had evening grosbeaks at their feeder, but I'll let Carl tell that story in the interview a little later. He's the one that took the picture of the evening grosbeak that was one of the winners.
What do they like to eat?
Sunflower seeds. And they like sunflower seeds on tray feeders in particular. I think it's probably because it accommodates lots of birds. They come all together. And so tray feeders with black oil sunflower. And they are little piggies. They will eat you out of house and home.
I had a flock, but they were just in the trees. I didn't see them on my feeder.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
I used my app, the Merlin app.
Oh, sure.
I didn't recognize the sound.
Yep.
But it was evening grosbeaks, but they didn't live on my feeder, just in the trees for a little while.
For a little bit,
And then they
moving
flew off.
through. Yep. Okay. Most of the sightings were along the lakeshore, but there were sightings also in Kent County, Grand Rapids area, and things like that too. So, yeah.
I don't know if you were present at the time of the sighting, but I heard that there was a sighting of at least one pine grosbeak. Can you elucidate on that at all?
I don't know the details on that.
Oh, it was Lonnie that was mentioning it. I don't know if he was, I thought maybe you were with him.
Yeah, that would be an unusual finch around here for sure. I don't know of this sighting. I have never seen one in Ottawa County. They have been recorded in Ottawa County, but it has been, I think, decades since that's happened. So if one was seen, great. I'd love, documentation for a rare bird like that. But they are also an eruptive finch that particularly likes berries, crab apples and things like that. So, yeah, they're a chunky cardinal. So they're bigger than a cardinal, a little chunkier and rounder. And the males are red. The female kind of a yellowish green. Yeah, if you have them in your yard, let me know. I was going to say evening grosbeak again. The pine grosbeak, which is a little bit of a misnomer because I don't know, they don't eat pines. I don't know. Maybe they nest in them up north. I don't know.
Harry on number 3.
Oh, is it on number 3? Oh, here I am chasing one up the tree. There was a hairy woodpecker going up the tree, and then somebody alerted me to the fact that there's a hairy woodpecker over here that we're going to look at. There we go. Take a look at that big schnoz.
Yeah.
It reveals itself as a hairy woodpecker. You can see the little collar that comes off of around the wing, the front of the wing there. So that's showing off real nice. You can also see the clean white outer tail feathers with no white or no black speckling. So that's a nice look at a hairy woodpecker. And that beak again is about the same width as the width of the head. I know we're getting to about, it is 10:21. Look at that. Well, we almost made it to every single species on the list. Oh, there's the mourning dove back here. I'm going to get it for those online viewers that you haven't seen the mourning dove. To the left of number 8, but back in the brush. See the mourning dove back there?
Oh.
Kind of hard to see. There it is, hiding in the pine boughs. So our online viewers can see the mourning dove as well. And online viewers, I wanted you to know, I didn't know if you picked up what I was talking about with the camera situation here. So we are doing a little bit more of a primitive video program today because it's just one video camera that has a picture-in-picture. That's what this is right here. But we do have cameras, and we are those cameras, but it's stitching them together. It's finding the glue to make them all talk to each other and put them all out on one output of YouTube Live. That's the issue that we're trying to tackle. Hopefully we've got that tackled by the time January rolls around. But Riley is on top of that. She's not the fully responsible one, but she's certainly been helpful in figuring that out. So, but yeah, we hope to have that going by the January 21st Coffee with the Birds. We have a security camera now up above this window here. We're trying to figure out how we can actually use that IP address to put it out to the general public so you can watch these feeders anytime you want. It'll be more of a broad view. It won't be like zoomed in so much, but it'll still help you watch the feeders. So that is installed there. We just need to connect it to you. It's been a little bit more of a process. The more you dive into this stuff, the more you realize how technical it gets, how much of a challenge it is. So thank you for your patience. I'm glad we do have this camera that we can at least get you on the birds online. Hopefully I'm not making you too sick by moving the camera around. But there's the juncos. One last look at the juncos. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera on the goldfinches over here because there's a nice flock of goldfinches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up this feeder watching session and say, those of you online, I'm really glad that you've tuned in. I hope that you can tune in again sometime and know also that this will live on the internet forever and ever now. So you can always find a link to it by going to the Coffee with the Birds website. This is for you all in the audience here too. If you Google search Ottawa County birding or go to miottawa.org/birding, you'll go onto the birding webpage. Click the Coffee with the Birds icon. It'll take you to the Coffee with the Birds information page. This video is embedded there. So it's live streaming there now, but it'll turn into the video version once this is done. So you can check it out and see what it looked like from the other side of things. But we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to go into the great room to do the birding tidbit. But those of you online, I want you to know that there is a video that should be live now. It should have gone live at about 10:15. And so when you're done watching this, we'll cut the audio here and maybe leave it on these birds for just a little while yet, maybe till 10:30, so you can watch the birds. But I'm going to cut the audio myself here in a moment. But feel free to watch the video. We're going to be watching the video together and taking some pictures with the winners and handing out some prizes here and having a birding tidbits in person. But to have your own tidbit presentation online using the video that is posted on the MI Ottawa YouTube page. Thank you everybody online for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this. We hope to improve upon our situation in the near future with more cameras and things. But we're making it a go. We're making it work, and we're glad that you could join us. So Cheers to you and a happy first Coffee with the Birds today. And I hope to see you all again next month. So I'm going to cut my video. You can cut my audio. Take care. We'll see you next time.